Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Builder Nation. For today's agenda, we have Michael Brown, CEO at Skyline Robotics, the company making automated window cleaning a reality. So, welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being at the podcast today.
Eliza, thank you for having me. I was born right outside of New York in New Jersey and went to Syracuse University, graduated in 94 in information technology, went into the office supply business for distribution and services, built that company up to about $400 million, sold that in 2006 to Office Depot, came back into the industry and then did it again and sold another office supply company for about $300 million to Staples. And I signed a 7-year non-compete, and I had to find something new, and I liked disruptive technology. And one day I was driving down the highway and I looked up and I said, I cannot believe there are still people cleaning windows. And I went looking all over the world and I found Skyline Robotics. We're really focused on the skyscrapers, right? We launched in New York in the end of 21. We've done a bunch of demos for all the big real estate people, and we're now starting to work on new construction projects besides existing. So we have a couple jails we're building that do not want to have any humans on the outside of the facade, so they want robots. So that's going on in New York. There's a new corporate headquarters being built in Manhattan that will be a $6.5 billion building. They are going to be utilizing our technology on that new building. One of the things that we're going to be able to do is be able to give a health profile of the building. So because we're on the outside of the building, we can use more cameras and say, okay, are there structural problems? Do you have any HVAC leaks or windows that are cracked or anything like that? We're going to be monitoring the outside of the building, which is very different than usually prop tech companies. They usually focus on the inside of the building. So ours is a multi-variable environment.
And I know that you guys released Ozmo, right? That is the name of the actual robot. How does that work?
The way to visualize it is kind of like from the car manufacturers, they have those robotic arms. The reason why we use a robotic arm is because it's just like a human arm. It has a 6-point axis, and the cleaning motion is something that's been perfected for 50, 60 years. So we're just mimicking that motion. And what we actually did was we went back in time and we're utilizing the brushes that they used to utilize, because they're very heavy, but they're very good at getting all the dirt off and everything. We can give a real industrial clean to the building. We don't use any detergents. We use what's called ionized water. And yeah, it is very exciting. And, we're solving a problem that people really don't know about. There are thousands of deaths every year all over the world with people falling off cranes and cleaning windows all the time. And there's no need for it. So we now have the technology. The technology is new. You have to think of it almost like an autonomous car. And yeah, between machine learning, artificial intelligence, and everything else going on, every day we're getting between 1 to 2 emails from somewhere around the world that wants the product, but we're being very careful on how we roll this out.
It's a great story. And the kind of problem that you guys are solving, it's unique. So thank you so much for sharing. And I'm curious to ask, was it hard in order to bring this into market, especially New York City or the biggest cities?
The company had pre-existed before me getting there. Mm-hmm. And their model originally was to become a first-party window cleaner, where they were going out and they would do it. When I came in, that's not what I want to do. I want to work with the window cleaning industry. So we're signing up, our dealers are actual window cleaners, and what we're giving them is a new tool to utilize within their workforce. So it might not work for every building, but it's going to work for all the tall buildings that they need. And it's going to allow them to go from having 3 people working on a building to 1. Also, we have the ability to clean at night. It is revolutionary. It's very cool. It's a lot of fun, a lot of stress.
So talking with different CEOs in the industry, I think it's really interesting to ask about the procurement process and how does that work, and especially after the pandemic. So how was that like that?
So the supply chain globally has been crippled, to say the least, because, the big people fill the big areas, and then there would be what I would call the last mile people, where you'd have sub distributors. Those people were wiped out because of COVID. And what's happening is things are taking much longer to get. Forgetting about, all the manufacturing issues with the chip shortages and everything else, just from a logistics standpoint through customs and everything, it's really become difficult. So we don't use proprietary hardware. On the hardware side, we've got great relationships with the manufacturers because we're really one of the first people trying to use cases doing this. So they're very interested as well. So our partners like KUKA, who's the robotic arm partner, or Ouster, who's the LiDAR, everyone's working with us to try to get this done. But I would say probably within 12 months, supply chain should be fairly back to normal.
And talking about next steps for the company, what should we be expecting for Skyline Robotics?
So next couple months, I think you're going to have a lot of big announcements. I think you're going to hear about multiple new construction projects that we're working on in New York. I think you will hear of us getting involved in some products over in the GCC region, Saudi Arabia and so forth. There's a lot of construction going on there for new construction. And I think that we're going to become very prevalent in markets with large skyscrapers like New York, the UK. Right now, we're making sure that the New York market, which is where we entered first, is on stable ground, which it is. We've had a lot of successful demos. We have more successful demos hopefully coming up this year. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting year.
And last but not least, Michael, if you can please share a piece of advice for future CEOs in the industry starting on this path.
Don't ever let someone sell you against your idea. Believe in yourself and you will get there. 95% of companies fail, but what I'm saying is that if you as the leader do not have the conviction and believe in what you're doing, then you've got no shot.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for being here, for sharing your experiences with us, for sharing that piece of advice. Do you have any social media handles? Where can people find you, or Skyline Robotics?
Yeah, everyone can find me on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn. We have some YouTube things out there for all the demos. But if you just go to our website, you can really see what it is. And there will be more announcements coming out over the next several months. So it should be exciting.
Thank you so much. And remember, guys, that you can also find more information, interesting articles, interesting interviews, just like this one with Michael directly on our website, ControlHub.com/Builder-Nation. We would love to hear from you. And once again, Michael, thank you so much for being here. We love having you at the Builder Nation podcast.
Lisa, thank you so much.